Let's get right into it. Number 6. A class divided, the power of arbitrary discrimination. Imagine a small-town Iowa classroom in 1968. Teacher Jane Elliott informed her third-grade students of a new fact. Blue-eyed children were superior, smarter, cleaner, and better behaved, while their brown-eyed classmates were inferior. The superior group was immediately given privileges, extra recess, second helpings at lunch, and front-row seats. The inferior group was forced to wear colored collars to mark their status and were subjected to constant criticism. Within hours, sweet-natured children transformed. The blue-eyed students became arrogant and cruel, taunting their former friends. The confident brown-eyed children devolved into timid, insecure versions of themselves, their academic performance plummeting overnight. The next day, Elliott reversed the roles. The now superior brown-eyed children, remembering their humiliation, sometimes dished out the same cruelty. The experiment starkly revealed how easily an us versus them mentality can be manufactured, and how readily people will adopt discriminatory behavior when sanctioned by an authority figure. Number 5. The Landis experiment, an exercise in coerced cruelty. In the 1920s, psychologist Carney Landis set out to determine if humans share universal facial expressions for emotions like shock and disgust. To track their muscle movements, he drew dark cork lines on participants' faces, turning them into living roadmaps of emotion. They were then subjected to a series of jarring stimuli, smelling ammonia, looking at shocking materials, and placing their hands into buckets of slimy frogs. The experiment's horrifying climax involved a live rat. Landis instructed each participant to decapitate the animal with a knife. When they hesitated, he pressured them, demanding they perform the act themselves. The truly disturbing finding was not about facial expressions, but about obedience. 2/3 of the participants, though clearly horrified, complied. The study failed to prove its original hypothesis, but it chillingly demonstrated people's willingness to commit shocking acts under pressure from an authority figure. Number 4. The Bobo doll experiment, programming aggression in children. In 1961, psychologist Albert Bandura set out to answer a simple question: is aggression learned? He divided preschoolers into groups. Some children watched an adult model brutally attack an inflatable clown doll named Bobo, punching it, kicking it, and hitting it with a hammer. Other children saw an adult playing peacefully with other toys, ignoring Bobo completely. After being made to feel frustrated by having their own fun toys taken away, the children were led into a room with the Bobo doll. The results were immediate and chilling. The children who had witnessed the aggression didn't just imitate it, they escalated it, inventing new ways to attack the doll and repeating the exact aggressive phrases they had heard. Bandura's work proved that children are like sponges for behavior, demonstrating the power of observational learning and changing the conversation about media violence forever. Number 3. The Robbers Cave experiment, manufacturing tribal warfare. In 1954, psychologist Muzaffar Sherif sent 22 11-year-old boys to a summer camp at Robbers Cave State Park. Unbeknownst to them or their parents, they were subjects in an experiment on group conflict. The boys were split into 2 groups, the Rattlers and the Eagles. After a week of bonding within their own groups, the researchers introduced them through fierce competition for prizes like trophies and pocket knives. Within days, camaraderie turned to hostility. The groups engaged in name-calling, cabin raids, and flag burning, with tensions escalating to fistfights. The researchers then attempted to reverse the hatred by creating superordinate goals, staged emergencies like a failed water supply and a broken-down food truck that required both groups to work together. Slowly, the shared struggle broke down the animosity, demonstrating that while competition can easily create conflict, shared goals and cooperation can resolve it. Number 2. The Monster Study, creating Stutterers in Orphans. In 1939, at the University of Iowa, speech pathologist Wendell Johnson conducted one of history's cruelest experiments on 22 orphan children. To test his theory that stuttering was a learned behavior caused by criticism, he and his graduate students subjected a group of normally speaking children to intensely negative therapy. They were relentlessly told they were developing a stutter. Every normal childhood hesitation was labeled as a defect. The children were told to never speak unless you can do it right. While the children didn't develop clinical stutters, the psychological damage was profound. They became anxious, withdrawn, and reluctant to speak, with some refusing to speak altogether. The experiment, later dubbed the Monster Study, left lifelong emotional scars on its vulnerable, non-consenting subjects. Number 1. Little Albert, the conditioning of fear. In 1920, behaviorist John B. Watson set out to prove he could condition an emotional response. His subject was a 9-month-old infant known as Little Albert. Initially, Albert showed no fear of a white rat. Watson then began pairing the sight of the rat with a terrifyingly loud noise, the clang of a hammer striking a steel bar behind the baby's head. After repeated pairings, the mere sight of the white rat was enough to make Albert cry and try to crawl away. The fear had been conditioned. Worse, it had generalized. Albert now showed fear towards other furry objects, including a rabbit, a dog, and even a Santa Claus mask. The experiment ended before the researchers could decondition the fear, leaving a traumatized baby as proof of their theory in one of psychology's most infamous and unethical studies. That's all for today. I'll be making similar videos in the future. Subscribe to see them.